I fear my truth will be the silence that finally says goodbye. My words tremble with the ache of love that was never fully spoken. Will you listen with open arms or shut the door on my voice? I don't know if my confession will be a curse or a fragile gift. My voice is a soft thunder, shaking the foundations of everything we built. When you hear me, will you find the heart that still longs for you? I fear my words will become the shadow we can never escape. If this touched your soul, don't scroll. Like, comment your favorite quote, and subscribe for more. My voice cracks open truths too heavy for silence, but too fragile for forgiveness. I don't know if your heart will shatter or hold space for my trembling words. When you hear me, will the silence between us finally break or deepen? My confession feels like a slow unraveling, fragile, aching, impossible to rewind. I fear my voice will awaken ghosts, better left undisturbed in your mind. My words stumble out like broken glass, sharp, bleeding, impossible to catch hold. Will my trembling voice be a wound or the salve your soul secretly needs? I don't know if my silence was protection or the prelude to this confession. My voice trembles with secrets buried beneath years of unspoken longing. When my truth slips through my lips, will you hold it or let it fall? My confession is a slow-burning ember, dangerous, delicate, too hot to touch. I wonder if you hear the cracks in my voice as sacred or sinful. My words carry the weight of 1,000 uncried tears and broken promises. Will you recognize the love hidden beneath the tremor of my raw confession? I don't know if you'll answer or let my voice echo into the void. My voice is the fragile tether between us. Will you hold it or sever? My confession drips with regret and longing, a bittersweet hymn to what was. I fear my truth will awaken wounds that neither of us can heal. When you hear my voice, will you see the soul trembling behind the pain? My words are an intimate fracture, breaking open the story we never finished. I don't know if you'll find solace or storm in the tremble of my confession. My voice is the last fragile thread holding together a story frayed by silence. Will my trembling words be your dawn, or the dusk of all we had? I fear my confession will haunt your nights long after the words fade. My voice is a whisper that holds the weight of everything left unsaid. When you hear me, will you finally understand the depth of my silent battles? My words fall like winter's first snow, cold, unexpected, impossible to ignore. I don't know if you'll forgive me or forget me after this fragile truth. My confession is a fragile prayer cast into the storm of your silence. Will you catch the trembling heart behind my broken voice, or let it shatter? My voice is the tremor before the earthquake. Fragile, powerful, inevitable. I fear my nay. Truth will be the wound that never finds its healing. When you hear me, will you see the love wrapped inside the brokenness? My words are a slow, sacred unraveling, exposing what we buried in shadows. I don't know if you're ready to hold the storm I carry in my voice. My confession is a soft thunder rolling through the silent night of us. Will my trembling voice become a bridge, or the chasm that swallows us whole? My voice carries the weight of promises made in shadows and broken by light. I fear my words will become the silence that finally consumes all we had. When you hear my truth, will you find the courage to stay or the strength to leave? My confession is a fragile breath caught between love's hope and regret's shadow. I don't know if my voice will set us free or bury us deeper in silence. My words are a sacred fracture, breaking open the heart I hid so well. Will you hear the sacred ache behind my trembling confession, or only the pain? Is the echo of everything I was too afraid to say before. I fear my confession will be the final crack in a love already broken. When you hear me, will you hold me closer or push me further away? My words are a fragile offering, raw, unfiltered, bleeding from the soul's depths. I don't know if you'll see the truth or turn away from the trembling voice. My confession is the last shard of a story, shattered by silence and regret. Will my trembling voice be the storm that breaks us, or the calm that follows? My voice carries the ghost of promises whispered under moonlight, now fading. I fear my words will become the silence that seals our fate forever. When you hear my truth, will you see the love that still lingers beneath? My confession is a fragile flame, flickering between hope and despair's edge. I don't know if my voice will reach you or vanish into the cold void. My words tremble with the ache of a love lost and never fully mourned. With an open heart, or close the door on my confession? My dear, when you hear my voice, will your heart shatter or finally awaken? I don't know how you'll breathe when my words pierce your silence tonight. What will you feel when my voice stumbles out the truth you feared? My voiceless screams are finally speaking. Will you listen or turn away? I'm trembling, waiting to hear how my words fracture your carefully built walls. Will you recognize me in the trembling cadence of my confession? What weight will my voice carry when it crashes through your guarded calm? My secrets pour out. Will you hold them gently or let them burn you? I fear your silence more than your anger after hearing my broken truths. How much of me will you still see after my voice cracks open? My confession isn't a question, but I'm still waiting for your reply. I don't know if you'll forgive, but I must reveal my raw scars. Will my voice haunt your dreams or dissolve in morning light? My words are a fragile offering. Will you catch them? Before they fall, what storm will my voice ignite in your quiet, waiting heart? I am the voice you never wanted to hear, but always needed. Will my trembling truths break us or bind us closer in silence? I carry a weight in my voice, a story I fear you can't bear. My voice is a tremor in the stillness. Will you notice the quake? I don't know if you'll answer or vanish once my silence ends. My confession is a delicate thread, woven from unspoken regret and love. The sound of my truth will either shatter your walls or rebuild them. I wonder if my voice will be a spark or a shadow in your night. My words fall like falling stars, too bright to ignore, too fleeting to hold. I fear my voice will become a ghost you cannot lay to rest. How will your heart catch the weight of my trembling admission? My voice is the echo of everything I tried not to say. Until now, will you be the listener or the silence that follows my voice? I don't know if my confession will reach you or disappear in echoes. My voice is a confession wrapped in vulnerability and the ache of waiting. When my words find you, will you know the distance we crossed? I'm afraid my voice will expose the cracks you've worked so hard to hide. My truth rides the fragile wings of my trembling voice. Will you hold it? I don't know if you're ready to hear what my silence has screamed. My voice is a fragile bridge over the chasm of our unspoken fears. Will you hear my sorrow or mistake it for weakness in my voice? My confession carries the weight of every night I've held back tears. I'm afraid my voice will be a mirror showing all your hidden wounds. When I speak, will you find me or lose me deeper in the dark? My voice trembles with the weight of love and regret tangled together. I don't know if my confession will heal or reopen ancient scars. My words are shadows. Sometimes a refuge, sometimes a wound you can't see. When you hear me, will you find peace? Or a new kind of ache? My voice is the last secret I'm brave enough to surrender to you. I don't know if my truth will set you free or trap us both. My confession is a soft wound, pulsing with every silent prayer I whispered. Will you listen or turn away when my voice shatters the fragile calm? My voice carries the weight of everything I wanted, but never dared to say. I'm afraid my words will crumble the fragile hope we built from silence. When you hear my voice, will you see the love hidden beneath the pain? My confession is a raw pulse in the quiet heartbeat of our story. I don't know if you'll hear my sorrow or mistake it for betrayal. My voice is a flicker of truth in the darkness we both fear. When I speak, will you catch the tremor of all the unsaid goodbyes? I fear my voice will become a rift neither of us can cross back. My confession is a fragile truth, trembling on the edge of breaking us. Will you hold my voice like a prayer or cast it into the void? I don't know if you'll recognize me. In the tremble of my truth, my words are shards of a love that's both broken and unyielding. When my voice breaks open, will you hear the sacred pain beneath? I fear my confession will be the silence that finally consumes us. My voice carries the ghost of promises we never dared to keep. Will you find tenderness or wrath in the tremble of my admission? I don't know how you'll react. Fear or forgiveness, silence or surrender. My words are a fragile dance between love's light and shadowed regret. When my voice trembles, will you hear the echo of our lost forever? I fear my confession will be the crack that lets darkness flood in. My voice is a trembling confession, the last breath of what I held inside. Will you hold my truth gently, or let it fracture like broken glass? I don't know if my words will heal or haunt the space between us. My confession is a whispered prayer swallowed by the weight of waiting. When my voice breaks, will you catch the pieces or watch them fall? My voice trembles with secrets you were never meant to hear, but I can't hold them anymore. I wonder if my words will be a balm or a blade cutting through your calm. My confession hangs in the air, fragile like a spider's web caught in dawn's light. Will you cradle my voice gently, or watch it crash like waves against your shore? I don't know if you'll stay or vanish when my truth slips from trembling lips. My words are a slow unraveling of all the silent nights I buried within. When my voice breaks open, will you see the sacred pain beneath the surface? I fear my confession will shatter the fragile dream you've built around us. My trembling voice holds the weight of 1,000 unshed tears and unspoken apologies. Will you find forgiveness in the tremor of my broken words, or just more silence? My voice is the fragile thread tying us to what we both refuse to lose. I don't know if my confession will be your salvation or the final fracture. My words drip with regret, bleeding slowly from the wounds I tried to hide. When you hear me, will you see the love hiding beneath the cracks in my voice? My voice shakes with the memory of every promise we failed to keep. I fear my confession will echo long after I've stopped speaking your name. Will you catch my trembling truth like a whispered prayer, or let it fall silent? My voice is a fragile flame flickering between hope and the shadow of goodbye. I don't know if you'll embrace my confession or turn away from its raw edges. My words are shards of love and regret, glittering sharp in the dark between us. When you recognize the heart breaking inside its cracks. My confession is the echo of every silent night spent fearing your reaction. I fear my truth will be the silence that finally breaks the fragile bond. Will you hold my voice as a sacred gift, or let it slip into oblivion? My voice carries the weight of every lie I told to protect what was. Left. I don't know if my confession will tear us apart or pull us closer. My words are a fragile dance between the agony of love and the pain of goodbye. When you hear me, will you find the courage to face the storm in my voice? My voice breaks open wounds you thought were healed. Will you run or stay? I fear my confession will haunt your dreams long after the silence returns. Will you see the trembling soul behind my broken words, or only the fracture? My voice is the fragile bridge over the chasm of our unspoken fears and regrets. I don't know if you'll answer my trembling call, or let it fade into darkness. My confession is a soft thunder shaking the foundation of everything we built. When my voice cracks, will you hold the pieces or let them scatter like ashes? My words carry the ghost of promises whispered under moonlight, now fading fast. I fear my truth will become the silence that seals our fate forever. Will you find tenderness or wrath in the tremor of my fragile confession? My voice trembles with the ache of love lost and never fully mourned. I don't know if my confession will be a curse or a fragile gift to you. My words are a sacred fracture, breaking open the heart I hid so well. When you hear me, will you catch the tremble of all the unsaid goodbyes? My voice carries the weight of promises made in shadows, broken by light. I fear my confession will be the final crack in a love already broken. Will you listen or close the door when my truth falls fragile from my lips? My words fall like autumn leaves, beautiful, tragic, impossible to hold forever. I don't know if you'll forgive me or forget me after this fragile truth. My confession is a whispered prayer swallowed by the weight of waiting and fear. When my voice breaks, will you catch the pieces or watch them fall apart? My voice is a soft crack in the quiet, fragile, urgent, impossible to ignore. I fear my truth will be the shadow that follows us into forever silence. Will you find healing or only new wounds beneath the pain in my voice? My confession is a sacred breaking, raw, sacred, the truth I never dared speak. I don't know if you'll hold me or let my trembling words fall like ashes. My words unravel everything we tried desperately to hide behind quiet smiles. When you hear me, will you be the calm or the storm in my confession? My voice carries the ghosts of love unspoken and dreams quietly abandoned. I fear my confession will be the silence that finally tears us apart. Will you stay or disappear into the endless night when you hear my truth? My confession is a trembling prayer whispered in the dark between hope and fear. I don't know if my voice will break your heart or bind it to mine. My words tremble like fragile glass, beautiful and easily shattered by fear. When you hear me, will you find the courage to face all I've hidden? My confession rides the fragile wings of a love. Torn between hope and despair, I fear my voice will be the final silence that ends our story.